With the oceans being completely dark and deeper than we could fathom, there is no telling as to what may be lurking in the shadows. From stalking entities to rarely appearing creatures, here are some of the most shocking deep-sea camera captures that no one was supposed to see. Stingray ambushes crabs. Since the tough exoskeletons of mature spider crabs restrict their growth, they undertake a summer migration into shallower waters for molting. For molting, thousands of individual crabs move from deep sea to shallower areas and accumulate upon one another before starting to molt. The process begins as they completely abandon their old and small exoskeleton for a bigger one, which is fragile first and requires days for their shell to harden. It is at this time they are vulnerable to predators such as a stingray that can step in and eat the recently molted crab. Gross hiding spot. Irrespective of the size, no aquatic creature is safe in the deep sea, but this pearlfish had a solution. This fish species feels vulnerable to be out in the open, and since it has little to no options, it goes to extreme lengths to find a hiding spot. With sea cucumbers having a tube-like body in that they eat from the sea floor, pose no threat to the pearlfish. The sea cucumbers feed from one side and excrete from the other, which could give this fish an option, but not in its mouth, but at the other end. With sea cucumbers repulsive to most pearlfish predators makes it the perfect hiding spot, and it stays in there until it's time to feed again. Whale death feeds sharks. Certainly being buried at sea doesn't seem to be such a good idea. In late May 2014, whale watchers were monitoring an elderly humpback whale closely in the Coral Bay as it was nearing its end. A day after the whale passed away, the carcass started to rot away, sending an open invite to apex predators such as the tiger sharks to clean up the huge rotting mess. A huge group of tiger whales appeared and began feasting over the whale carcass, so much so that the huge whale was eaten by day 3, leaving behind the bony remains of the whale. Oldest human skeleton. Scientists found a 13,000-year-old skeleton in Cave Hoyo Negro in Mexico. This discovery was made in 2007, and it is believed to be the oldest complete human skeleton ever found in the Americas. The skeleton belongs to a teenage girl named Naya by scientists and is believed to be from the last ice age when the cave was above water. It was so intact that researchers were able to extract DNA which matched the Native Americans. This footage from November 2016 shows divers in a pitch-black 200-foot deep underwater cave carefully extracting the ancient remains through the remarkable deep water chamber. Swallowed while feasting. Deep seas are where anyone can turn into food if they are at the wrong place at the wrong time. Footage captured on July 8, 2019 shows an unexpected turn when one of the feasting sharks itself became a feast for another predator. Scientists from the NOAA saw a group of sharks that looked to be in the middle of a vigorous feast on a dead swordfish's carcass. With the carcass nearly eaten, a wreck fish appeared out of the blue with an entire dogfish shark in its mouth. Deformed dolphin. In 2013, divers were following a deformed adult bottlenose dolphin in an effort to study its behavior after it was found either left behind or rejected by its pod. It was suffering from a spinal malformation since birth and lacked the ability to keep up. Researchers were convinced that due to isolation and lack of feed, the dolphin would not be able to survive until a very remarkable development followed. A group of sperm whales that were nearby represented a non-agonistic interaction from them, almost as if they seemed to want to adopt the dolphin into their family. So, eventually, the dolphin had a happy ending. Shark inspects submarine. A team of scientists were on a mission to put a satellite tag on one of the giant deep-sea creatures. Being just over 1,000 meters below the surface, a massive blunt-nosed six-gill shark came out from pitch darkness over the ocean floors as it was passing by. The observers were caught by surprise and fascinated, especially when this giant shark, out of curiosity, bumped into the submarine with its eyes rolling around almost as if it were inspecting the submarine. The fact that the sub wasn't made of any tissues is likely why it may have lost interest in it. Scavenging marine life. Deep-sea explorers revealed footage on October 23, 2019, showing scavenging marine life encompassing the remains of a baleen whale. The skeletal remains of this baleen whale rest at nearly 11,000 feet, providing nutrition to eels and octopuses who strip down the skeleton of blubber, leaving behind the bones and skeleton. These skeletal remains are a long-term food source for bone-eating Osedax worms, who along with the bacteria consume lipids from the skeleton. Whale seeks diver's help. An underwater photographer, while documenting a sperm whale off the coast of Florida, found the poor mammal in distress, almost as if it were calling on to him for help. Seeing how only he and his team were close, they decided to step in and help. Upon getting closer to the whale, he discovered that a fishing hook was stuck in its mouth on the lower jaw between the teeth. Within over a few minutes, the diver carefully removed the hook, rendering the whale off its distress. He was amazed by the level of intelligence and patience it showed, considering that they are the largest toothed and apex predators of the ocean. Fluorescence of deep-sea squid. In 2015, MBARI scientists deployed blue light-emitting diodes on their remotely operated submersibles to observe and study fluorescence in different deep-sea animals in order to investigate the ecological roles of light in the deep sea. As the blue light spotlight was placed on the red squid, they were surprised by the result of an impressive light show. These squids have a normal-sized eye, with one extraordinarily large eye, which is brightly fluorescent, indicating the presence of a blue-absorbing fluorescent pigment. Experts believe that the fluorescent pigment aids the squid to monitor and capture prey by breaking their camouflage. Many organisms have fluorescent structures, but we are still exploring what the natural functions of these fluorescent pigments are. Deep-sea stalker. In August of 2010, a very strange and unusual footage was recorded at Japan's Sagami Bay, which depicted an unidentified subject. It was encountered by an ROV at a depth of approx 1,000 meters. With little to no movement throughout, it has led to a speculation that the subject is a dead or decomposing animal, or maybe just hibernating. What do you think this could be? A stationary, inanimate object, a dead creature, or something entirely different? Dolphin skeleton. Finding dolphin skeletons is so rare that even the divers were confused at first until a marine life biologist examined these remains. In early August of 2018, a group of divers were exploring nearby the base of Trinamine Reef at the depth of 38 meters on the Scilly Isles when they found a bizarre-looking skeletal remains. At first, it was thought to be of a baby whale or shark. But after consulting marine biologists, it was found to be the remains of a dolphin that may have separated from its pod and expired due to confusion or lack of air. Ancient gator skeleton. Fakahatchee Strand. State Preserve officials found an ancient alligator skull deep beneath the waters of the Fakahatchee Strand. This unexpected discovery was made in February 2016 while the area was being maintained. The workers found a 10-meter-long alligator skull almost perfectly preserved and partially buried on the floor bed. Despite thorough search, no other remains were found, and it surely baffled experts. On the bright side, at least the gators have evolved to be much smaller than their ancestors used to be. Squid graveyard. MBARI researchers discovered a surprising number of deep-sea squid carcasses on the ocean floor during an expedition in the Gulf of California in 2015. Years later, in another expedition on March 15, 2018, even more of these unusual scattered squid carcasses and empty egg sheets up to 2.5 meters long were found. It is believed that most squids tend to put their eggs into egg sheets and protect them between the arms for months. Once the offspring hatch, the parent squid moves down to the seafloor with an empty egg sheet and expires due to weakness, aging, or both. Their body becomes food for scavengers, and this may change the rhythm of life in the deep sea. Caged pig carcass experiment. Another experiment was conducted where a body of a pig was used as a model for human decomposition in February 2012. The carcass was caged as the sharks tend to show up much earlier than any other scavengers. Shortly after it was placed, small arthropods or amphipods colonized within minutes. They entered the carcass via the orifices, eating the carcass from the inside out. Amphipods quickly gained numbers, so much so that they dominated the entire cage and excluded all other arthropods. Within days, the only remains left of the carcass were bones that were abandoned. Entire cartilage was then removed by a 3-spot shrimp, and the experiment was concluded after a giant octopus got curious about the cage. Extinct sloth fossils. The fact that they are incredibly slow and tend to be curious is probably the very reason for their extinction. In May 2016, divers made an extremely rare discovery of an extinct species of giant sloths in a cave in Cuba. A team of explorers first discovered the cave, which contained 3 fossils in an underwater cave near Varadero. The caves are believed to have formed before the sea levels were lowered during the time of these sloths and only submerged when sea levels rose. They also found numerous remains which researchers took samples of in hopes to learn more about ancient climate and environment. Giant fish graveyard. A giant fish graveyard was unearthed on May 14, 2014 by chance off the coast of Angola. Marine biologists believed that it seemed to be the spot where some of the largest animals were found. They were stunned to find the carcasses of 4 large marine creatures, including a whale shark and 3 rays laying at the bottom of the ocean floor. Each of them was surrounded by dozens of scavengers. The area is now believed to be dominated by eelpouts who sit around the carcass waiting for smaller scavengers, amphipods, to come along for these eels to eat them. It does not appear to host characteristic whale-fall fauna and are primarily significant for mobile scavengers. Underwater alien planet. On April 9, 2018, a group of expert divers and explorers set out to explore deep underwater caverns in the Bahamas and were left baffled by what they experienced. They described it as an alien world beneath our feet, and it was as if taking a trip to another planet. The cave is completely dark, disorienting, and remains to be the least understood parts of the planet because of the dangers of going down in them. Even the most expert divers were confused as to which way was up, backwards, or forward, while it has a confusing and tiny maze-like structure. Creature takes down shark. If a shark can be hunted so brutally, there is no telling of the harm that this anonymous creature could cause. Experts were monitoring a few sharks in the deep open on June 17, 2022, when an unknown creature sprung upon one of the sharks and took its life after a brief struggle, almost as if it were nothing. Once this footage got leaked and viral, many speculated that it looks to be a giant isopod that attacked and killed the shark, but scientists who are baffled but haven't concluded that it is in fact a giant isopod. So the nature of this aggressive creature remains a mystery. Snack on fish head. Maybe it was a giant isopod from earlier that attacked a shark, viciously judging from the behavior of this isopod. During a deep-sea exploration on November 30, 2019, researchers using a remotely operated vehicle spotted a giant isopod that was snacking on a fish head in a manner just as the shark was attacked. Upon sighting the ROV, the giant isopod started walking away from the area along with its meal, as it probably didn't want to risk sharing or being robbed. These creatures are known to grow up to 45 centimeters in length, and researchers are still studying about their biology and behavior. The footage was taken off the southeastern coast of the US. Dolphin gang war. Dolphins are known for their incredible friendly nature for far too long. Like everyone else, it also has a darker side. On March 31, 2022, footage was captured by divers where a group of male dolphins attempt to seduce a female, and things get haywire when another gang of older male dolphins arrive at the scene. These two gangs of male dolphins face off against each other, using synchronized clicks and jaw clapping to intimidate the other gang.
Several minutes later, the standoff suddenly diffused as they all ran out of air. Otherwise, it probably would have lasted for a while.
Massive megalodon tooth. Most people may doubt or call the existence of a massive shark like megalodon to be a myth, but coincidentally, evidence keeps compelling. An astonishing discovery was made in December 2020 when a massive megalodon shark tooth was recovered. Captain Michael Nastasio with Black Gold Fossil Charters unearthed a tooth of a possibly extinct megalodon at the depth of 50 meters below the sea level just off the coast in Venice, Florida. What do you think about this discovery? Do share with us down in the comments. School of Sunfish. Last year in October, a gigantic sunfish was pulled up not by fishing, but after getting tangled in tuna fishing nets on the Mediterranean Sea. This massive fish was measured to be 3.2 meters in length, 2.9 meters in width, and while weighing over 4,410 pounds. As it was being weighed, the weight almost broke a 2,000-pound scale. However, large schools of tiny sunfish are known to be quite commonly seen, especially in the Breakwater Cove. Biggest known squid. This was found after exploring just over 1% of the ocean's depth. In November 2019, NOAA sponsored a deep-sea exploration project for researchers to get samples, but ended up getting something much better. Buoying several hundred miles in the darkest depths of the sea, scientists managed to capture a video of probably one of the largest giant squid ever to have recorded. It was estimated to be 13 meters long and may have weighed nearly a ton.
Let's talk about the thumbnail. Take a look at this picture. Yeah, we know it's not real. The image graphs what would be a really impressive discovery. We see a diver finding Cleopatra's tomb underwater. I know you may be wondering, why was the tomb underwater? Well, the answer could be because of Cleopatra's last actions as ruler of Egypt. She and Mark Antony were on the losing end of a war with a key figure in Rome, and she knew that if Cher were to be captured, her body would be dragged around and put on display as a kind of victory trophy, and she was having nothing of it. To decrease the chances of them finding the tomb, it was intentionally placed underwater, away from the pyramids and surrounding areas to where it was supposed to be for logic. Well, it's a theory. What do y'all think? Let us know in the comments section.
Birth of baby squids. Although the adult squids may at times seem scary, their offspring are actually adorable. A clip taken marine biologists in the depths of southern Australia on November 16, 2013 shows mother squid giving birth via its egg sheet to hundreds of tiny baby squids. With the pitch darkness in the background and the almost glowing nature of the babies, it seems as if there were stars sparkling in space. The camera crew had to maintain the distance from mother squid during the birth, but they were able to get a closer view while babies were still hatching once the load on the egg sheet lowered and separated from the mother squid.
Well, that's all guys for today. Thank you for watching the video. And if you guys found it interesting, I would much appreciate it if you comment down below about the video and leave the thumbs up. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for getting updates related to our latest videos.